guys, today's video is all about my new hair. I have had a couple of videos already where I had my unexpectedly long hair and a couple of people mentioned it. I did show on Instagram and I've mentioned on Twitter and things that I was having it done, but I just kind of forgot to mention it because I vlogged and that hasn't gone up yet and whatever. I didn't want to make this video straight off the bat because I wanted to make sure that I'd washed and styled it a couple of times myself. I just had a little bit of, prior knowledge of that stuff before filming my first impressions. Because sometimes first impressions are like, wow, I've had this great, amazing service, and then it doesn't last, or suddenly it's terrible. And I didn't want to kind of put out a really, really glowing review and then immediately change my mind and have to redact it. So, redact it? Retract it. Not the right word. So anyway, you may remember a few months ago, I had another set of extensions, which were great lengths keratin bonds, and I was really, really happy with them. I actually had them removed 3 months ago. A couple of people in my previous video where I had my unexpectedly long hair, something about my hair growing, and someone said, yeah, she's got extensions, and then someone else said, are you sure, because she's only just had those taken out. It was 3 months ago, and I only had them in for 5 months, so seriously, this year has just flown. I had them in at the very, very beginning of the year. For those of you just joining us, in this kind of hair damage diary situation, along this journey, my hair about a year ago started to break after a really, really terrible experience with bleach. If you want to go back to the very, very first hair damage diary, you can kind of see how my hair has progressed since then. I don't want to kind of make you think that this is my hair now. It's not. I wish it was. But it has recovered, I would say it's recovered 100%, and it's just growing out of the terrible haircut that it's living in right now because of the damage. I was actually considering having a second set of great lengths put in, and going kind of all over darker, having those put in for summer when I got this opportunity with Lucinda Ellery. So this was another free treatment that I got. Full disclosure, I didn't pay for the extensions. However, I was about to go and pay to have some great lengths ones put in a second time when I got this opportunity. So I thought, I'll give these a go, and then at the end of the year when these come out, if my hair still isn't at a point where I'm happy with the length or the way that the kind of shape is in the cut, then I'll choose between the two. For pricing information and stuff, I did ask for quotes and things, so for those of you interested in how much it would cost, I'll leave all that information below because I don't have it to hand and I want to be 100% sure about everything. It's an expensive treatment no matter where you go, but a lot of the money is spent on the actual hair, whether you buy it yourself or it's provided. The hair itself is part of the outlay. Depending on where you go, some of that hair can be reused. So for example, with these hair extensions, if any of them fall, I can keep them. I've actually got a drawer full of the ones that I lost with my great lengths ones, thinking that I'd keep them and have them re-put in, but I didn't really like the colour of them, so I decided against it. But when these were put in, I did ask about reusing them, and she said that that was an option. So depending on what condition they're in when you go back, they can potentially remove them, kind of cleanse them and stuff, and then reapply them, which makes a huge difference if you try and look after the extensions that you're having fitted, and you can have those exact extensions or majority of the extensions refitted. That's a big, big cost saving. So bear that in mind when you're kind of getting quotes and stuff, and finding out what kind of extensions you might be looking at. Certain ones might seem really expensive, but if you can get 2 uses from them, plus the refitting and the cleansing and stuff, it might end up being better to go for better quality extensions at a more expensive salon than kind of a one-stop shop and it only lasting you kind of one go. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention. But it is definitely an expensive treatment. It's something that I would maybe do for myself as like a treat if it was like a big event or an occasion. I think if it was a wedding or something, it would be a really nice thing to have. But for just added length, it is like a major, major luxury. What I particularly like about Lucinda Ellery and what kind of more made me think it might be better for my hair than other extensions is that rather than most hair extension salons where they just add length, that's the kind of main thing. The Lucinda Ellery salons, they're first and foremost there for hair loss treatment. It's a really interesting story, and like I say, I'll leave as much information, as many links to as many pages as I can find for you that want to read a little bit more about it. I'm not going to go on and on because not everyone's going to be interested, but it's a really interesting story of how the salon became what they are now. But it all started from kind of hair loss. It is something that affects us more than most of us would like to talk about because it feels really, really vain, and it is vain, but whether you're a man or a woman, how your hair looks or how much hair you've got does affect your self-esteem. I wish I could tell you that it didn't, but for a lot of us it does. And so although it may feel really, really vain, it's fantastic that these services available for us. And so although I did want to add some length, the most important thing for me was to kind of fill out my style, and there was areas where I had kind of really uneven, like around here, kind of to here, I look like I've cut half a bob. It's just not cute. So for me, it was still a service that I felt was kind of restorative, and it was restoring my full hair again. I happen to have some length at the same time, which is great, and that's an amazing thing to be able to have instantly long hair. But the biggest thing for me is that there's no areas of like, oh, there's a short bit and then there's a really thin section of hair, and I love it for that. I'm hoping that at the end of this, my hair will have grown to the point where I can kind of cut it to a style that I'm happy with. But if I don't feel like that, then I'll wait a couple more months and maybe have another set of extensions. I'm completely converted to hair extensions. I thought they would be, well, I was worried about them being damaging, but the biggest thing I was most worried about was maintenance, and they were so much easier the first time I had them, and so far I found these to be just as easy. I have definitely got more hair this time. I'd say probably twice as much hair in my head than the previous set of extensions I've had, but I find that way easier to blend with my hair, because my own hair has a lot of natural volume and texture, and unless I really straighten it and kind of get all of the life out of the top sections, it never totally blended with the bottom sections unless I really made them kind of big voluminous curls. It was quite difficult to strike a balance for me, and so although they were really low maintenance, I felt like there was just something missing, and I realised now it was more hair. The only thing about having a lot of hair is that it's a lot of hair. Now, it does take slightly longer to dry than the previous ones, but it's not insane. I still can leave them to dry naturally, and that's fine. And if I want to blow dry them, they don't take forever. But for someone who doesn't generally tend to do a lot with their hair, it's still longer than my regular routine. I've been washing them as normal with regular shampoos and conditioners, and the bonds seem to be holding up completely fine. One thing I would mention about the bonds is when I had my tester connections in, I had 2 tester connections in a couple of months ago when I went for my consultation, and it was almost immediately a really hot, well, we had like a heat wave, a hot couple of days immediately afterwards in England, which never happens normally, but of course it would immediately after having these hair extensions put in, and I felt like they melted a little bit in my hair and they became a little bit sticky. I'm a bit concerned about that because I'm about to go on holiday for in a couple of weeks, and it could be hot for a couple of days, so I've got a hat. Something I wanted to mention, it is still early days, whether or not that was just kind of like a fluke, I don't know. But it was something I experienced, so I just wanted to mention that for those of you finding this video and kind of considering them, or maybe finding this video and wanting someone else to mention it, because that's happened to me so many times. When something happens and you're like, why is no one else talking about this thing that happened when it happened to me? So that did happen to me. So far they're fine, but it did happen. I think it was because of the heat. Obviously you don't want to put too much heat near the bonds. You don't want to put heat directly onto the bonds from straighteners or curling irons in it or anything like that, but you can kind of blow dry everything as normal and it's fine. So far these are just as easy to look after. I was probably in the chair for 5 hours having them fitted. It's a long time. It is a long and uncomfortable process, just because it's like you're like really uncomfortably putting your neck at certain angles, and it's not, you know, it's not comfortable, but you come away with completely new amazing head of hair, so no one's complaining with that. I was like super happy with it straight away, and so far nothing but good things to say about it. The colour match, this is the thing that I was initially so happy with, because the big difference between most pre-bonded hair extensions that I've kind of known of in the past and the Lucinderelli ones, I don't know if there are any other ones that use the same kind of technique as the Lucinderelli salon, but their hair is completely loose. So they go and find their kind of sections, their pieces of hair that they think they will blend together to create your custom colour. And this is what was completely like baffling me. She had like maybe four or five, I think, sections of hair that were totally different colours. One was like a super blonde, one was quite dark brown, and then there were like some medium colours. I forget how many, but you will be seeing on the screen. And she was taking little sections of hair from these little like wefts that she'd put on the table. Depending on where she was applying them in my head, she would use more of one colour or another. So like there are certain sections of my hair that have got more blonde in them, certain sections where it's just more natural, and certain sections that might look darker or that you can blend a little bit of dark in. because I did say I wanted to look predominantly darker. So I didn't have my hair coloured, and my hair was still kind of all kinds of different colours, and the very, very ends were still blonde. And she still managed to blend it together absolutely perfectly. The thing that I was most excited about when she showed me the kind of after and I saw the back of it and stuff was how amazing she, how amazingly well she blended together the colours to make it match my own hair. I was so happy with that. Another thing, I think Manny's come to see us now. I'm sure he's just come in the room. Another thing is that depending on where in your hair the extension is being applied, they can actually choose a different, can you hear that? A different size of hair extension. So they can choose kind of more hair in different areas. If your hair seems stronger in certain places or weaker or thinner, or if there's a particular area where they feel like they need to fill it out a bit more, they can use a smaller weft or a bigger weft or whatever. Each individual weft is kind of created for you and that area of your hair. If you're wanting to add just a little bit of volume to the hair in the sides, like for example for me, there are certain areas around here where I feel like I could just have some extensions just to fill out the sides without having a full head, and that would make a big difference to my hair. And that's something I may think about in the future if I get to a point where I quite enjoy the length, but I do just want to fill out a little bit of the areas of my hair where I've lost volume because of breakage. So just generally I feel like the whole service is a little bit more customized to the individual that's having the fitting. So I was really, really happy with that. I can't really think of anything else that was kind of specifically different. I was just overall really, really happy with it. I'd say the salon itself, because obviously of the nature of people that come in there, could potentially have something that they want to deal with that they don't necessarily want to be on show. If you were particularly thinning, or you had kind of a bald area that you wanted to be covered, they do amazing, amazing things in that salon. There were people that came in that had very little hair that came out just looking like they had a completely natural full head of hair, and it was like miraculous. I've never seen anything like it. I really didn't think that you could have such a natural looking woven section of hair put in alongside a full part of your hair, and it just looks so natural. I mean, I'll link to some before and afters so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. It was really, really amazing to see. Obviously I have some experience with regular hair extensions and not really anything with hair loss or like real proper restoration of someone's head of hair, but it's an amazing, amazing thing. And because of that, it's not a regular high street salon. You can't just kind of walk in off the street. You need an appointment, and it's not even street level, so you need to be buzzed up, you need to come upstairs, and everything's kind of hidden away. And you would feel very, very safe and secure in that area, knowing that no one's just going to walk into the salon and see something that necessarily you don't feel comfortable having on show. And everyone was just like really happy and friendly. So it is something that I would definitely recommend to someone if they mentioned to me that they had like thinning hair, or they had a certain hair issue that they wanted to address. It's not your average salon. It's definitely more about restoring hair, and because of that I felt more comfortable going there with the problems that I'd had in the past, and being a little bit nervous of hairdressers now, to be quite honest. I absolutely loved my old hairdresser, but once that happened, I'm kind of nervous to ever bleach my hair again. I really want to. I love to be blonde, but I like the colour that I am now, and I'm really trying to embrace it because I would rather keep the hair on my head than it will break off again and have happen what happened previously. So as someone who's a little bit nervous of hairdressers now, it was a really, really nice place to be. One other thing that I wanted to mention, so many people have been asking about kind of the condition of my hair, and like I say, I feel like it's 100% restored to what it was before. It's just growing out of that awful mullety haircut now. But I have been using the Red Ken, I think it's called Beach Waves shampoo and conditioner. One of the downsides of my hair being in really, really nice condition now is that it needs washing constantly. I need to wash it every single day or it starts to look a little bit greasy. I mean, this is perfectly clean hair, and because it's so shiny, it almost looks like it's not clean. It's like, you know, what a problem to have. But that is one of the things that I found, and the Red Ken Beach Waves shampoo and conditioner is really, really good because it's not too heavy or conditioning, and I feel like it's light enough and cleansing enough that it's actually getting my hair really, really clean. And I've used it with the extensions as well, and it feels great. I don't feel like I'm putting too much conditioner anywhere near the bonds or anything because it's not a really heavy conditioner anyway. So yeah, that is that is it for this video. I will do an update and let you know how I'm getting on with them and the products I've been using and all that stuff. But so far the maintenance has been really, really easy. It's a lot of hair, and if I don't style them and keep them brushed, they can start to look a little bit wiggy because it is a lot of hair. But you know, hair extensions do take more maintenance than regular hair, so it swings and roundabouts. But I am really, really enjoying them. So yeah, I thought I would just do a video and show you what my hair looks like, show you the process, give you a little bit of information about how they were applied. I've tried to film this video a couple of times now, so I have no idea what I've could and what I haven't, because that's the worst thing when you kind of start refilming something, is that you're like, but I said that already, but was that in take 1 or take 5? I don't know. So if I have missed anything, please feel free to leave me a question below and I'll try and answer it, or I'll just kind of tag it onto my next video when I do kind of an update on it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for those of you that may be considering this kind of Medi Connection Loose Cinderella-y hair extension service. And you know, great for those of you that just want to know what I've done with my hair this time. Who knows what it'll be like next time, but this should last me 12 weeks. We'll see. I'll see you guys next time.